Welcome back for another video, guys, and today I'm going to be doing a video on decoy spreads for ducks on water. This is going to be a lot of fun. So there's a few different generic decoy spreads that I like to tell people to use when they're hunting, and you can basically use them anywhere. So let's set up our blinds first. So there's our duck blind right there. And so we're going to have the wind at our back, so the wind's coming up right there. And so what I'm going to do is set my decoys out in a U shape. So I'm going to just spread these decoys out here and make kind of like a horseshoe, and the decoys are just going to float around in the water, look real inviting, and I like to put a pretty decent concentration of them right here where the ducks are going to finish. And you can do this with anything from 6 decoys to 3 or 4 dozen. It really doesn't matter, but as long as you have this pocket right in there, that is the important part, because the ducks are going to come and they're going to land right up in that right there. So if you guys didn't know, ducks always land going into the wind. So you want to have the wind at your back when you are hunting waterfowl, ducks, geese, anything like that. It's preferred to have the wind at your back, but you can also run a crosswind. So I'll show you a horseshoe spread if you're hunting a crosswind here. We'll keep the blind the same, and we'll do that horseshoe spread with a crosswind. So we're gonna have a crosswind. The wind is gonna be coming right across the blinds like that. So what we're gonna do is line the decoys out right here like this, and just make that horseshoe once again, just like that. These X's are your decoys if you didn't know. And then we'll have that landing pocket right in there where the ducks are gonna come in and land right there, and then you'll be killing them right there in that kill hole. I get asked a lot of time where I should put the mojos in a spread, and I would say I like to put them either right here in right at the kill hole so they'll land on the mojos, but you can also put one over here and one over here. It really doesn't matter. If you just got one, I would just stick it right here in the middle, but you can also have them off to the sides. There's really no particular way to do it, but those are kind of locations that I would do if I had mojos with me. So the horseshoe spread is pretty great, and I use it all the time when I'm hunting, but sometimes you want to do something a little bit different, and especially if I'm hunting a crosswind, I want to do a J hook. And there's 2 different ways you can do it. You can either do a J hook where it wraps like that and you don't have any decoys down here in front of the blind, or you can do a J hook where it wraps around in front of the blind and comes out like that. So your decoys will just be doing that same thing, kind of like you did with the horseshoe, but you're going to just wrap it and leave it open out here. So that's if you're hunting more of like a wind kind of coming like that, or a crosswind. Once again, that'd be perfect, but that's pretty generic there. And with the mojos, you know, I'd put them right here, maybe right here. Pretty simple stuff. So another spread that I like to do sometimes is a W, and so we'll have the blind right here again. There's our duck blind. We'll have the wind at our back. And so what we're going to do with the W is make that horseshoe shape like we did before. And we're going to bring the decoys all around, make that horseshoe pretty wide. Okay, and then, you know, we'll add some more in there. You get the picture. But then to make it a W, we're going to go ahead and string some decoys coming out here, you know, just about like that. So you get that W shape here. And that's going to give the ducks 2 different pockets to come down and land in. So that's pretty good. Sometimes if they're not digging the horseshoe, sometimes I like to switch it up and do the W. Sometimes it makes a difference. And if you're hunting with large groups of guys, you know, let's say you're hunting 6, 8 guys, you have 3 guys here, 3 guys here, they get to shoot their ducks there. But, you know, most of the time they'll land kind of in the middle, off to the side, off to that side. I like to use the horseshoe the most out of all of these decoy spreads. But if the horseshoe isn't working, I'll switch up to the W. And if the W just really doesn't seem like it's doing the trick, maybe they're landing on the outsides of you, what I like to do then is run pods. So we got the blind and wind at our back. And this is going to work the same way whether it's crosswind. So like with the W, if it was a crosswind, you just boom, W just like that. With the pods, what I like to do is, you know, we'll have the wind at our back here. I'll run a pod of like 4 or 5 decoys out here, and then I'll run a pod of, you know, 6 to 10 decoys right here in the middle. And then I like to run a pod over here. And then sometimes I like to put just a couple stragglers just like right in the middle. So then it looks like it's populated, they're having a good time. These guys are feeding, these guys are feeding, these guys are feeding, these guys just landed in here. And it gives the ducks some options to look at when they are looking at your spread. And with the mojos, what I'd like to do is really put the mojos on the areas where I really want the ducks to land. So with the higher concentration of decoys being right here, I would like to put a mojo, you know, in there, or maybe over here. And you know, it really doesn't matter. It just depends on how the ducks are liking mojos. If the ducks love the mojos, I'd put them right there, because if they're landing on the mojos, they'll land right in front of your face. But if they're kind of landing away from the mojos, you know, maybe put them off the side, just get some attention. But pods are a great option for anybody who's duck hunting. If you want to switch things up and do a spread that's really just kind of haphazard, pods work pretty well. So like I said, the wind is really important. You want to be able to know which way the wind direction is, and the ducks are always going to land into the wind. So if you are hunting on a lake, let's say, and you're only able to get on the north side and you have a south wind, that's a no-go. I would find a different spot. It's going to be really hard for you to kill ducks. But if you're on the north side and you have a wind coming from this way, I would either run a horseshoe, or I'd string it out and make a J, or you could even just run pods of decoys and let them pick where they want to go. But the main thing with decoy spreads is you want to just leave a pocket for them to land in, and that's going to be super inviting. Most of the time they're going to land in there. Sometimes they skirt you and land on the outsides, or they just go ahead and land short, and that just comes down to being in the wrong spot most of the time. If they're landing 50 yards over here, I would just pick everything up and move 50 yards that way. It'd be a lot easier. Same thing with marsh hunting. If they're landing short of you, or they're just kind of landing outside the decoy spread, it doesn't take much time to move. So go ahead and move. If it's earlier on in the afternoon or early in the morning, you still have a second flight, you know, you're going to be able to kill more ducks if you move 50 yards the other way than if you just stay there and rely on your calling and your decoys. Because ducks, they're creatures of habit most of the time, and if you're in the right spot, you're going to kill them. Keep in mind, we had the U spread, we had the J spread, we had the W spread, and we also had the pod spread. So those are all great options for when you're hunting water. The U, that's my go-to, and if that doesn't work, I'll switch up to one of these other ones. And you know, sometimes it just takes a little bit of an adjustment in the decoys for them to decoy the way that you want them to. So that is basically it for decoy spreads. If you want to follow me on my social media, I've got Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Follow me on there and stay up to date with what's going on. But that is all I've got for you guys today. I hope you learned something and learned some new decoy spreads that you haven't seen before. And I'll catch you on the next one.